Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our CES webinar series. And today's topic is developing unique alternative accommodations. So this is a really important aspect of the travel industry since people need a place to sleep and before coming to a destination. And there's a variety of very unique and exciting models that are out there that can be applied essentially anywhere in the world. So I'm excited to inspire you and see if there's something that you could apply to your business or an idea in your community. So today we're going to go over a real missed opportunity in Canada as far as accommodations go. I'm going to also share best practices from around the world that I've personally been to. Also just talk about what it takes to stand out from your competition and how you can really do something quite unique when it comes to accommodations, how to draw tourists into your rural location. So I know many of you live in remote areas, whether it's in Canada or abroad, and also what's needed to start your own business. So the steps that it takes to get your business idea off the ground. And we'll also have a Q&A session at the end, but our webinars are quite casual. So if you do have any questions while I'm going through some of the lessons, just feel free to type them in the side message bar, or feel free just to unmute yourself as well and ask away. So I recently had the privilege to travel across Canada through Alberta and the destination being BC, which I'm sure a lot of Canadian travelers and visitors to Canada, have done something similar. But for myself, I was traveling with my partner and my dog, and we were on a tighter budget. And it's also my passion to support small businesses and stay in unique places while I travel. So keeping all this kind of in mind, we had a really difficult time to find something that kind of checked all of those boxes. And we actually struggled, and we had to kind of get really creative for places that we wanted to stay that were nice, that suited what we were looking for. And we were fine to go off the beaten track too, but just kept struggling on finding these places. And so I came to the conclusion that there's a really huge missed opportunity in Canada. So this doesn't just go for BC, but I think all across Canada, where there's slim to no options for unique budget accommodations in Canada. So that said, there's just an incredible amount of opportunities for communities and small businesses to capitalize on. So while we're traveling and trying to find places to stay, that's where I said we had to get really creative. So instead of looking at the traditional accommodation markets, we used Airbnb quite a lot and stumbled across some amazing opportunities. This place here was found on Airbnb. The larger house kind of on the side there is where the resident lived, and then she rented out the loft of the smaller building, which was a self-contained suite that had everything we needed. It was on a beautiful property, and she was there to help when needed, but otherwise kind of left us to explore. And it was just such a simple model and a really great place that we enjoyed to stay. and being surrounded in a beautiful property too is just quite lovely. Another place that stood out, and we found this place through recommendations from friends, and it was on a friend of a friend's property, and it's actually an old chicken coop that was redone into an eco cabin. So it uses, for the most part, natural energies to run the eco cabin, and again, just on a beautiful, nice big property. This family, they don't rent it out to anyone right now, but we are talking to them that it's a huge they should, because it's such a cool little place to stay in. They're lovely hosts, and so I'm thinking starting this year they're going to be renting it out to and accepting visitors. So as you can see from these two simple models that I shared, it's for some of you may even have resources already in your community that you don't know about, where you could be renting them out to visitors and tourists. And many people, when they travel Canada, they love the outdoors. They love, exploring, hiking. They're active people, so they don't mind to stay a little off the beaten track and something a little more rustic and, away from all the action. So I think that there's, a great opportunity to do something simple like this and perhaps expanding from there. So I myself am a very well-traveled individual, and like I mentioned before, I'm passionate about supporting small businesses and things where I could really get to learn about the culture of a place and connect with locals as well. So from a variety of places that I've traveled throughout the world, I'm going to talk about some amazing models when it comes to accommodations that could be potentially applied to in Canada. So the first one I'm going to talk about, this is called Base Camp Artola. So this accommodation was located in the southeastern corner of Nicaragua in a rainforest reserve. And it was quite a journey to get to this destination, and but it was well worth it. It was just, as far as getting up and close to nature, it was just, location was amazing. They created these raised structures to keep you kind of elevated off the ground. The structures had hammocks, a little table, and it overlooked an amazing viewpoint. And where you slept in was just these basic tents. But what they did to make it a little more comfortable was put mattresses inside. They had nice, fresh, clean linens, blankets, towels that you could use. In the back, there was a compost toilet and shower. Since this was in tropical rainforests, they didn't have hot water, but for something in Canada, you could have solar heated showers for people to have a hot shower. And, it's simple accommodations, but they're made nice. So you have these little extra perks of, where you're not just sleeping in a little tent. You have something that's comfortable and feels really welcoming, and you could sense the care and thought put into everything as well. For this particular site, they also have a cap of allowing only 8 visitors at a time. So it's very sustainable. It's run as a community cooperative within a few different villages around the area. And as part of the experience, you're offered 2 guided experiences per day. All your meals are served on site as well. They employ all local people, so it was just an incredible place to stay, and such a simple model, but it was executed really well. So I think this model would do really well in Canada. Another place that I got a chance to stay, this is a heritage home in Iceland. So it was a budget guest house, but it had so much character, and it was one of my favorite places that I stayed in. Each room just, felt like you were walking through history and had its unique feel to it. They added those extra nice little comforts like beautiful linens to sleep in. There were shared washrooms, but the washrooms were all updated and quite modern. But everything else was just rich in character. In the basement, they had a common area that was just filled with old little knickknacks that all you could just sense all the stories that were there. And when you would talk to the owner too, his eyes would just light up about all the stories. And it was just like such a unique place to stay. You actually felt like you were staying in a museum. So I thought something like this would be a really great model for Canada as well, and doing it kind of that guest house style where you could offer a beautiful room with shared washrooms and keep it within a more reasonable budget. And a country like Iceland, there's a higher cost of living, so but they had a wide variety of different models and for budget accommodations. So I'm, as an avid traveler, I think that there's so much opportunity for Canada to offer something similar to clients. Again, this is in Iceland as well. It was a farm stay that I did, and that's the resident friendly sheep in the forefront there. She would greet you like a dog. It was, yeah, pretty funny. Just this sheep acting like a dog. But anyways, just a really quaint farm that you stayed on. Again, it's rural, it's remote. Nothing's really around it, but it was just such a beautiful, like peaceful property. Uh, you felt just at home there when you arrived, and we were served a beautiful meal. You could just walk around the grounds. There was horses, there was animals everywhere, and it was again, I think we can offer similar models like this in Canada. Again, this is another farm stay. It's called Maple Pine Farm, which is actually in northern India. And in northern India, there's quite a few indigenous villages in this region and small communities. It's not kind of India a lot of people have in their mind where it's congested and overpopulated. So this area is really quite peaceful. And this Maple Pine Farm ran completely off the grid. So they used a combination of wind and solar energy. They got all their water from this nice little creek here, and it was just run by just such a lovely family. Family had 3 kids, and the kids were always involved some way too. We actually went swimming with the kids in this in the water here, and the cabins that you stay in are really cozy but basic, and you get your meals included when you are on site, and it's home cooked meals served by the mom. And there's a little common area too that has a library, so you learn about the region, and then they also connect you with local guides and everything too. So it's such a simple model, but you felt right at home. It's in a beautiful, peaceful environment, and you're supporting something that's, sustainable and off the grid as well. So again, like I think there's great opportunities for something like this in Canada. This is called a company called Adventure Domes in Argentina, Patagonia. So these are just seasonal accommodations, and it's in this dome structure that has a lot of windows. They have a skylight window too, so you can watch the stars at night. And inside the domes, you have actual beds. So again, it's like that concept of glamping where you're staying in a basic structure, but it's meant to make you feel homey, comfortable. You have warm duvets to keep you warm. There's a shared washroom facility and also a shared space to eat all your meals. So again, it's like that celebrating like being close with nature and but also being comfortable and having those certain luxuries that a lot of people look for. But again, it's just an alternative budget accommodation. Another example that I'll share, this is in Chile and in this Torres del Paine National Park, which is really famous for their hiking trails. And so these little eco cabins are accessible by hiking to them. So there's these cute little backcountry eco lodges that you hike into that are all built onto the side of the mountain with amazing views. And yeah, for those really wanting to get up close and personal and wanting a more of a sense of adventure, it's a really great model. And again, just celebrating, being close with nature. And I think there's lots of opportunity for these types of experiences in Canada as well. So I showed quite a few different models and experiences. And so now with these models, how do you stand out from your competition? So uh, with each of them, there's one main component, and I think it's really important for people wanting to start businesses, especially hospitality business, that it does show when you put extra care into something. So even going back to base camp Artola, that was basically just a small tent that you're essentially sleeping in, but they put mattresses, they, folded the towel in a really nice, cute way. They leave a little soap for shower. You could tell the linens are all nicely folded and clean. It just looked so welcoming for something as basic as just, a nylon tent that you're sleeping in. So, and the structure that the tent sat on, thought was put into where it was and where you would face out when you wake up in the morning. And, same thing shows with some of the places that I stayed to where, you remember those extra comforts like nice linens, a beautiful, nice duvet that keeps you warm at night. And all those little added special touches are what people are going to remember and what people are going to talk about as well. So always something to keep in mind when, whether you own a current accommodation facility or when planning your new business. And also there's the point to create a destination. So for those of you that live in remote and rural locations, how do you make people come to your place? And I think it's creating an actual destination. And I'll go back to the base camp Bartola since it's such a great model and a simple model. It's so remote, so you actually have to take from the capital in Nicaragua. It's a 8-hour bus drive, and then from there you take a 3-hour boat ride. Then you'll have to overnight in this small town, and then next morning you get up, you take another about hour or so boat ride, and then you transfer to a hollowed out like a canoe, and then you paddle upstream for about another hour, and then you arrive. So it's not an easy place to get to, but once you're there, it's, everything's looked after. So all the visitors that get to the destination, all your meals are covered and cooked by locals from the communities. And each group of people that arrives get their own private tour guide, and you get to choose between a variety of experiences, up to 2 guided experiences per day. And so I stayed there 2 nights, so I got to do 4 local excursions. And yeah, it was just an amazing experience, and everyone was so well trained there. Even the gardens, you could tell the extra care that was put into a place. So it was, as far as simple models, but it was executed really well. And they also did, because it was run by a community co-op, they did a lot of work transferring their knowledge to other communities as well. So right after we were staying there was a group of 20 students from a nearby community that were coming in and doing guide training and learning about their model as something that they could uh, apply into their region. So they're spreading the word locally as well, and kind of growing this huge sustainable tourism network as well. So just all in all, just an amazing, amazing tourism product. So again, talking about being rural, this particular eco lodge you have to actually hike in. So I think it's a 4 or 5 hour hike. So it's not something that's easy. You work with the local operator that runs the cabin. So say if you have a lot of stuff, you can make arrangements for them to bring it in for you. But apart from that, you're going on an adventure when you stay here. So that's part of the marketing, and that's part of the draw to get to this place, is the challenge that you have to undergo in order to stay there. So it appeals to quite a lot of people. And Canada as a destination has that wilderness adventure feel to it when attracting international visitors. So I think something like this would do quite well in Canada. So going back to another model, this maple pine farm in northern India, um, they created a destination out of staying at their place. They're connected with a wide range of local indigenous guides in the region, and so you can use the farm as your base and then go to a variety of hiking opportunities, stay in local villages, and get a chance to explore the region, but have the Maple Pine Farm as your base, and then do a variety of different adventures from this location. Okay, so I introduced a lot of models, and I've talked a lot about what's out there and this missed opportunity in Canada. So where do you start? So starting your own business. So first, you really need to do your research, and your location well, but you need to fill a need in the marketplace. So uh, looking at new trends in tourism, what type of travelers are coming to your region, and unique things that are happening in the accommodation world. And I really think some of the models that I presented would do quite well in Canada, because it's something different and it's refreshing. Uh, from traveling across Canada, it was just, the amount of cheap motels on the side of the road that had no character that I stayed in it was just getting frustrating to keep seeing the same thing. And it would just be so refreshing just to have more of a variety of different options. And I think that there's just that huge opportunity. So once you do your initial research, then you need a plan. So you could either get your plan professionally developed, or if you have the skills to do so, there's great online business resources that are out there to help you develop a business plan for your business. But again, really focusing on what's unique and how to attract, you know, a, a viable tourism market to your community is important. Of course, if you're somewhere that is rural and more remote, it's always great to get community support. And this may lead to help with finding funding to get your business off the ground. And point number 4 is using a grow as you go approach. This is something that we always strongly recommend. And it also helps with securing funding and moving forward with things as well. So say if you have a model, something like the base camp Artola, where maybe you start with just 3 raised structures so you can accommodate a maximum of 6 people staying at your facility. If it goes successful for your first year, you're full capacity, you're doing well, then maybe add 2 more platforms and then slowly continue to grow from there. And always keep in mind having sustainability at the root and of your business. So not over, if I think a lot of Basecamp Artola's charm would be lost if they allowed more than 8 people on the property at a time. So I think, sometimes keeping things small and exclusive is a really good way to go. And of course, having a solid marketing strategy. So getting the word out. Perhaps there were amazing places that were already in BC and Alberta, but I couldn't find them. So making your place accessible and available on a variety of online sources, whether it's TripAdvisor, sometimes bed and breakfast even post on Airbnb, things like booking.com, and all these online resources are kind of people's go-to for when they travel and when they want to make a booking. So look at how you can be tuned in to those types of online booking networks, and also just doing your own PR and stuff like that. So being on social media and just being up to date on your website and information is always great, and affiliated with your regional tourism associations and provincial tourism associations as well is important. Well, I hope I inspired some of you, and also just as a bonus that we're offering for all of our webinar participants is a free coaching session. So we'll offer this to anyone, even if you signed up for the webinar and weren't able to tune in, we'll still offer this to you as well. And just to help, get direction for developing a unique accommodation, and we're happy to help and set some direction for you. Well, thank you so much for everything, and look forward to connecting with you in the future.